just like to take that one. I would really like to thank all of our partners who made this a reality. Although I decided initially I wasn't going to be a filler either, so then Althea asked me to get you to give remarks. I said, but then later I decided I would come up and speak as not only the chairman of the board, but also an empowerment zone resident, and also a resident who would have loved to have benefited from the HOMEPOWER. I was one of those young, energetic young men who wanted to buy a home. Somebody wanted to sell me a house. He said, don't worry, we'll get it all worked out for you. Didn't go through the educational process of finding out what the interest rates were going to be. All I knew was I was getting ready to buy a house, and they told me I didn't have to put any money down. It sounded good to me. Then when I got locked into that 12.5 interest rate, didn't understand what that meant until I started getting those mortgage payments. Then I bought a house in the zone. Didn't understand that spending the house, buying a house for $140,000 in the hill over French Street next to a housing development probably wasn't a wise investment. But I wanted to buy a house. They told me that it was going to be a good move, so I did it. Didn't understand that. They told me that my rental income would take care of my mortgage. Sounded good. Didn't happen that way. You didn't tell me what to do when the folks don't pay the rent. Then code violations. I applied for one of those lead abatement programs to get the house done. Then we find out that we have over $30,000 worth of code violations in this house that I have to repair immediately, and I have to cease the rental. And then I got to help find those folks someplace to live. And I'm like, is this what home ownership is really all about? So now I have to go get another loan. I've got this mortgage. Now, of course, the bank is on the city. Oh, I forgot about you. But now all of a sudden, I have to get my house into code. And I have to go get some more money. I'm already paying 12.5% for interest rate, so you know the only place that I can go is one of these groups that going to charge me really astronomical amounts. Won't say the names, but I needed the money, young, dumb, didn't know no better, didn't know you could banker folks. And then I ended up with a second mortgage with a 22% rate. Some of y'all know where I'm at. I would sing the chamber. Good for more. Well, I went there. Now all of a sudden, I have over $225,000 worth of debt in the hill. Not Westville. I'm right in the hill next to a housing development with the units that I can't rent till I fix up or whatever. And then in order to get the money back to pay the first and second mortgage, I need rental income of in excess of $1,000 in the hill. It just couldn't happen. So of course, I just tried to do what I could try to do, but then I found myself digging deeper and deeper in debt. I started talking to some of my neighbors only to find out they were the same boat that I was in. Right in the hill. Most folks don't realize, most of us, those of us living right in the hill, we're paying $1,400 and $1,500 a month mortgages in the hill. I'm not talking about Westville, I'm not talking about Morse Code, I'm talking about right in the hill. So there are a number of folks who I realize are really impacted by this type of lending, this predatory lending, not having the education of knowing what you need to do with home ownership, a house to shop around for the lowest mortgage rate. Mortgage insurance, when they presented that in the paper, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just another figure blended into the number, and it was no big deal. And then on top of that, my taxes weren't included. So then I started saying, maybe I made a wrong decision. So if I said you need to be a home ownership, need a home, we buy a home. Everybody was sharing, oh, you're a homeowner, that's great. And I'm sitting there looking at my bank account. looking at my credit rating instead of going up, starting to go down because I can't take care of all this stuff. And then I wondered, what in the world did I get myself into? So what this My Home Power does is does a couple things for me. Well, a number of folks like me, buying a home process wasn't a positive experience. So we didn't, initially, I didn't go out to try to encourage any of my friends to buy a home, not with what was going on with me. And then those close to me saw what I was going on too, so they were ready, look, we're better off renting, you don't have to bother with all the headaches, home ownership, paying taxes, tenants. So for years, I didn't encourage anybody to try to buy a home. It makes sense to me because I didn't know anything about predatory lending. I thought that's how all the lending process was. We thought that's how it was. Then we thought it was some type of game. So My Home Power, this whole My Home Power and our first Home Power initiative are really good initiatives. And I think the educational piece is the piece that I really enjoy the most in. And I'm really committed, and our team is committed to making sure that future homeowners don't go through the process that I had to go through. And many other folks who are in our community right now still experiencing this. Got their mortgage. I forgot who my first mortgage company even was. You know, by the time we shopped around, I probably had 5 mortgage companies in 2 years. Sure, here, there, and everything. You know, so when it's time to track down who you owe, what you owe, you didn't know. All you do is you wrote a check and sent it somewhere. You know, and there are a number of folks in our community who are still experiencing it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're kicking off this My Home Power. I love this collaboration. The next thing we're going to do is sit down and shit that. But the next thing we need to do now is there are folks who are in homes now with these ridiculously high mortgages now who are already still hooked into some predatory lenders. Our next thing is to do is try to figure out how to rescue some of these folks before they make the mess that I did. So all these partners in the room, this energy that's behind it, I'm sure we'll be able to take that next step. So again, thank you all for this initiative, and I look forward to you on our next initiative. Thank you.